I had to redeem myself from the Taco Bell cheese dip video. But I did get some helpful tips, and that is why I ran home and made it again, and this time it turned out way better. So some of the tips were, I cooked the seasoning in with the butter, and that is supposed to enhance the flavor, and it is very flavorful, so that was good. And I also took the sauce off the heat when I added in the cheese, so that it wouldn't, I guess, break the sauce. And so I slowly added in the cheese off the heat, and it made the cheese dip much smoother. Then I also added jalapeno juice from pickled jalapenos in with the cheese dip. And so this time, as you can tell, the sauce is much smoother, and it is honestly much tastier. So thank you all for the tips, and if you make it, do it this way.
These are not blondies, and they're not brownies. They're caramelized white chocolate brownies. So they are brownies, but they're made with caramelized white chocolate instead of dark chocolate. What is caramelized white chocolate, you might ask? It is white chocolate that's been slowly toasted in the oven so that the sugar caramelizes and the milk proteins undergo the Maillard reaction. This changes the flavor from light and milky to something truly magical, similar to how caramelizing onions completely transforms them. Caramelized white chocolate has a flavor like nothing else. It's butterscotch, vanilla, warm milk, and toasted nuts all at once. So it makes an incredible base for brownies. And since you just did all that work caramelizing the white chocolate, we keep the batter a simple one bowl affair. You melt together the butter and caramelized white chocolate, whisk in the sugar, eggs, vanilla, salt, and flour, and then we press some of the solid caramelized white chocolate on top. They're almost velvety with this wild, toasty, milky butterscotch flavor. Oh, the recipe is on my Substack, linked in bio. I hope you make them.
The original grape soda from over 100 years ago was made with actual grapes, but grapes were pretty expensive back then, so as soon as it became mass-produced, they started using an artificially produced flavor made from petroleum, and grape soda hasn't been the same since. But the good news is, it's so easy to make your own at home with real grapes. Ideally, you'd use Concord grapes for the best flavor, but since they're only available in fall, we use another purple variety, and this tastes absolutely incredible. It's so refreshing, flavorful, and definitely has less sugar than store-bought. If you love this, check out our homemade Sprite and orange soda next.
Oh my gosh. Butter, light brown sugar and white sugar, eggs. Oh my gosh. Vanilla. We're gonna add the dry to the wet. Now I'm gonna set this in the fridge while we work on the streusel topping, brown sugar and cinnamon. Butter. Now we're gonna set this in the fridge while we work on the other stuff. Cinnamon base. Perfect. Now we're gonna set these in the fridge for an hour. Perfect, and now we bake.
Canada was built on torturing and killing natives, and all of these atrocities were done in the name of my holy Jesus.
Bon appetit.
From horrific residential schools that traffic children and punish native kids for speaking their own language, Canada's history is extremely demonic, and it happened right up until the late 1990s. Today, barely 10% of natives in Canada can speak their ancestral language. Their traditions and culture have almost vanished, and yet Mark Carney and other Canadians still hold them in contempt like their voices and suffering don't matter. Not to mention, Mark Carney's father was a residential school principal. I'm done with this crap. So here's a Canadian Nanaimo bar. It's 3 layers of chocolatey goodness, and it's one of the only foods we have since our history is just basically oppressing natives. So yeah.
I made this Mediterranean-inspired crispy pasta possible. While my chicken is marinating, I'm dicing up some fresh spring vegetables along with some fresh dill, feta cheese, and olives. Searing my chicken thighs in some olive oil on both sides until fully cooked. I'm adding some shawarma seasoning, garlic and herb seasoning, and a little bit of olive oil to some cooked pasta. Pop that in the oven until it's nice and crispy. For the dressing, I'm using some olive oil, harissa vinaigrette, and some plain Greek yogurt. Mix that up really well. Tossing all of my ingredients together, make
fuiste turista. Tú solo viste lo mejor de mí y no lo que yo sufría. Te fuiste sin saber el porqué de mi herida. Y no te tocaba a ti curarla. Viniste a pasarla bien y la pasamos bien. Una foto bonita, un atardecer.
So I did bring 2 cakes to the New York City cake picnic. I'm sure you've all seen my savory cake recipe. Here's how I made my brown butter sweet potato caramel cake. This recipe is by Well Made by Kylie, and I'll tag her in the caption. Started off by peeling, dicing, boiling, and pureeing my sweet potatoes. Then I went in with my cake base, pretty standard steps. I also wanted to thank you guys so much for all the love on my savory cake video. I do want to clarify that there was another savory cake at the event, and that one didn't have meat in it. So there was a vegetarian savory cake option, and I do feel really bad about the cross-contamination of my pork floss. I did not realize that the cake would be adulterated like that. But anyways, for the garnish on this cake, I want to do something like this dried apple on this cake. I thinly peeled some sweet potatoes and skewered it on some toothpicks and baked it, and then dipped it in the salted caramel from this recipe. And then I made the cream cheese frosting. I did have to double the recipe in order to make the cake as tall as I wanted to be. I leveled the top off of each cake and then cut each into 2 layers. There's 4 layers in total. And then I piped a tall border for the caramel so it doesn't fall out, and then just stacked each up, and I rinse and repeat. Then I do a crumb coat, which is like a really thin frosting coat that basically just traps all the crumbs in there. Then I put everything in the fridge for a couple of hours so everything is like solid, or else it's gonna be really hard to frost the cake. Everything will just be slipping and sliding all over the place. Once the cake is out of the fridge, I did my final coat of frosting. To get it really even all over the cake, I piped the frosting on and then smoothed it over, and also make sure to fill in any bald spots. The trick to get the frosting really smooth is to put it in the fridge a little longer and dip your spatula into some warm water and then slowly start to smooth it. I think the spatula kind of melts the frosting a little, so it gets really smooth. And this took so long, but I think it turned out pretty good. For the decor, I did these little rings on top of the cake and then piped a bunch of little swirly things. I did think that this cake was a little bit too big. I wish I made a smaller one, but the requirements was like an 8-inch cake, which not everyone followed. I was really scared to get disqualified. I kind of just went in with my art skills and just filled in any spots that I think would look good with these little swirly things. I don't know what else to say about this. I also piped a little swirly border on the bottom, and I took some more of the caramels and just kind of dripped it all over the place. No rhyme or reason, just wherever I wanted to be. And lastly, I put in my little sweet potato crisps. I think this really ties everything up. And this is how it looked in my fridge with my other cake on top. Transferring this to the event was so stressful because unlike my other cake, this one could get smushed because there's frosting on it. And it was completely finished by the end of the event, and I didn't even have a single bite actually.
I love In-N-Out, but I live in Florida, so I'm going to show you guys how I make it at home, and it's just as good. So first off, we're going to peel some Idaho potatoes, and then we're going to start to cut them in the shape of fries. You can do these as thin or as thick as you want to. It's all up to you, but this is how I like mine. We add them to a bowl, and now we're going to pour in some cold water, a tablespoon of vinegar, a tablespoon of salt, and then we're going to go ahead and top it off with some ice and leave that sit for about an hour or so in the fridge. Now I'm cutting my onions because I wanted whole onions on top, and I'm going to dice another set of onions for the caramelized onions. These are super easy to make. Put them inside of the pan on medium heat with some oil, some W sauce, some sugar, and then just let that caramelize down with a little bit of water, and this is what it should look like. Cut your toppings, whatever you wanted. I did tomatoes, lettuce, onions, and pickles. Now for the sauce, we're going to go ahead and chop up some pickles really finely. Into a bowl, we're going to add some mayo, ketchup, mustard, a little bit of honey, all of those pickles, some vinegar, some pickle juice, and then some black pepper and a little bit of paprika, and give that a good mix. Cover it up and put it to the side. This is what it should look like. I rolled out some ground beef into 4-ounce balls, and then I flattened them really nice with some parchment paper. And now for the fries, we're going to pour out all of that water, put them onto some paper towel, and pat them dry. For my whole onions, I'm just putting them into that same skillet that I'm going to cook the burgers in and just sear them off on each side. Now for the fries, you want to make sure that they're really dry, and then you're going to be using 375-degree oil and fry them off for 5 minutes on the first fry, then pull them out and let them rest. For the burgers, put them inside of that same pan that the onions were in to get that flavor. Season them with some salt, pepper, and then when they're almost ready to flip, you put mustard on the side, brush it on, and then you flip it over and let them finish cook. Now, going back to our fries, once they've rested, go ahead and add them back into 350-degree oil and fry them till they look the way that you want them to look, about golden brown. It took me about like 5 minutes to get them this way. Season them up with some salt and pepper, nothing too crazy because we're going to be putting a whole bunch of sauce and stuff on there. Once the burgers were finished cooking, I topped them off with some cheese and covered it up so that they can melt properly. And then I stacked them up like these because we were doing double doubles. And now I'm going to assemble it really quick. So it was just toasted bun, some sauce, pickles, lettuce, tomato. Put on those patties, get your whole grilled onions, and rest those on top. Add some sauce to your bun and then put them on top of your plate with some parchment paper to hold them together. For my fries, I just laid down some slices of cheese, melted them up with my torch, and then spread out some sauce and top it with some caramelized onions, and then you're all done. It was super easy to make. Recipe is going to be in the caption below. Let me know what you guys think about it.
This pepperoni pizza with a garlic parmesan crust is made by transforming Hawaiian rolls into the pizza crust, and the result is a soft and sweet pizza that only takes 10 minutes to prep. We'll start by making the garlic butter with fresh garlic and parsley, then we'll use a spatula to press down the center of the rolls, spread on most of that butter edge to edge, and we're going to get this baked in the oven until it's lightly toasted. And then we'll press down the center of the rolls one more time to redefine the crust, then we'll spread on the pizza sauce and layer on pepperoni, shredded mozzarella, and more pepperoni on top. Hit the edges with more garlic butter and some Parmesan cheese, and we'll get this baked in the oven until it's toasted. And if the crust starts to brown too early before the cheese melts, just cover the crust with some foil. Then just slice the pizza and it's ready to enjoy.
Easy, no brine turkey. Y'all know I'm all about shortcuts, and some of us don't have the time nor the patience to brine a turkey, but this was just as flavorful, delicious, and juicy, and here's how I made it. So first I got a 20-pound turkey. This was so big. You can get a smaller one if needed. I added half of my aromatics to the baking dish and placed my turkey on top. As y'all can see, I was struggling with this turkey. Next, I melted 2 sticks of butter and I seasoned with my new Zestiny Cajun seasoning along with pepper and paprika. Gave that a nice mix until fully combined, and I placed the other half of my aromatics into the turkey. I also added in some fresh herbs because why not? I baked it in the oven nice and slow on 325, making sure to inject it with Creole butter every hour. The cooking time depends on your turkey. I cooked mine for about 5 hours. It should reach an internal temperature of 165. I topped it with more Creole butter, and do y'all see how delicious this looks? Your guests will absolutely love this. The full recipe is on cookingwithdestiny.com.
Let's make honey barbecue chicken mac and cheese. That is actually insane. If you want to have extra fun, use a 3-pepper Kobe Jack. This is actually a sriracha Gouda. And remember, if the cheese is cold, it will shred a lot easier. Once you've grated your cheese, cube some chicken thighs and add lots of buttermilk, hot sauce, and then just season with a little paprika, chili, and garlic. And then you just want to mix and marinate until you lose patience. Now to make our beautiful cheese sauce, we're going to melt down some butter, more garlic, chili, and paprika. Then when that aroma starts to talk to your nose, add some evaporated milk, and then just finish this off with a little bit of heavy cream, anything to avoid a roux. When it starts to lightly talk back, kill the heat. I'm going to do pre-shredded cheddar so those additives emulsify the sauce. Then just add the 3-pepper Kobe Jack and our lovely sriracha Gouda. This is what mac and cheese dreams are made of. Now today's noodle of choice is some elbow macaroni, and then just make a quick layer into your baking dish. You can layer on a tiny bit more cheese, finish off the top layer, make the last layer of cheese, then finally we bake 350 20 minutes. While that bakes, we need a little bit of flour, trust me, and add a lot of breadcrumbs, the same seasonings as earlier, and just grab your beautiful chicken and add it to the dry batter, and then into a hot tub set at 350. After 5 minutes, it should be nice and golden like me. Now I'm going to toss the chicken in some honey barbecue sauce. I'll provide the recipe. Whee! Your mac and cheese should look beautiful like this. I like to make a healthy pile of my honey barbecue chicken, and finally a little parsley to negate all those calories. And as always, the bismillah.
Today we're baking up some brown butter carrot cake sandwich cookies. It's a carrot cake cookie sandwiched between a brown butter cream cheese frosting. So we're going to be working on the carrot cake cookie first, and I've already browned some butter. So to it I'll be adding in an egg, and then some vanilla bean paste. Next I'm going to be peeling these carrots, then we're going to get them grated. And so now with this little portion of carrots, I'm going to be cooking this down until it gets to about 35 grams. Now I'm going to be adding in the cooked down carrots, and we'll get this whisked together. And I'm just dumping all of my dry ingredients directly into the bowl. So first we have some flour, baking powder, baking soda, some salt, and then our spices, I have some cinnamon, a little bit of ginger, and then some cloves. Then we'll just get this mixed together with a spatula. And then before we're done fully mixing everything, I also have some toasted walnuts that we're going to be adding in. And now with our dough fully formed, I'm going to get this in the fridge to chill for about 1 hour. So it's been about 30 minutes, so now I'm going to be scooping these out. I like to pack it really in there. And then we got our dough ball. The oven's set to 350, so these can now get baked. We're now going to be working on the cream cheese frosting, so I have some cream cheese here that we're going to be whipping up. And then we have some leftover brown butter. Pinch of salt, vanilla bean paste, and then some powdered sugar. You could definitely just top these with icing, but I do like the idea of creating a sandwich with them. Alright, now for the best part, I get to eat one. The cookie is super soft, you're getting bites of the nuts throughout as well, which I really like, and then the brown butter is great too. And I'm really happy I went with a sandwich instead of just adding it on top. These were super fun to make, so I'll be sure to have the recipe details in the caption so you can give this a try too.
Welcome back to Not the Frat House, where we're making Mediterranean sandwiches the boys would never eat, but this is what I'd eat at home. So we're starting off strong with the list of things that would never be appreciated over there. We're going to make our own hoagies, nice and easy. Basically just white bread with some butter added to it. And you could bake this in a loaf pan if you wanted a nice loaf of bread, but I'm not going for that. We're going to mix her all together and throw her in a greased bowl and cover that. And while that's proofing, we're going to make our meatballs. Second on the list of things I can never serve over there, ground turkey. Also, if you want a super fine dice on your shallots or onions, just peel them separately and dice them like this. Then we're gonna keep on going with our garlic and all of our herbs. And originally when I thought about this, I was like, ooh, a spinach, turkey, and chicken meatball. And then I got home and forgot all the spinach. That's okay, we'll sub spinach and parsley for arugula because it all kind of tastes like soap to me anyway. And we're just gonna keep throwing the rest of our ingredients in the bowl, like the panko and the parmesan and the yogurt, and mix her all together. And any cookie that you've ever had in a restaurant, that scoop has probably been used to make meatballs. Fun fact, by the time we're done with that, our dough is ready, so we're just gonna cut her into 4 semi-equal pieces and then roll her into a log and then push down nice and tight on the ends and then let those hoagies proof. And then I'm gonna score them about 16 minutes at 400 degrees. And then me and my cat are gonna marvel at the bread. Part 3 of the things the guys would never eat, we're gonna roast some peppers. So we're just gonna cut them into some strips and spray them with olive oil, a little salt and pepper on top, roast them at 400 for about 25 minutes. And tzatziki sauce, if I could only have one sauce for the rest of my life, arguably at the top of the list, just make sure you drain all that crappy water out of there. Look, it looks like Ecto Cooler. This is a super easy sauce. It's just to add everything to the bowl and make sure you stir it together really well. And if you couldn't tell, I have been quite sick ever since I ate those brownies, so I don't know what you all put in there, but I might be dying. Now everything is ready. We're gonna throw our meatballs in a hot pan, give them about 3 minutes aside, and I finished them in the oven for about another 5. And then we're gonna toast our bread in that grease and get everything ready. I like to scoop the top out and then sauce them, and it makes a little cavity for the meatballs. And you throw the peppers on top, make your bed of arugula, smash her together, and here she all is. But thank you guys.
Crab Rangoon stuffed cheesy bread. I see my girl Rachel make these and they look so delicious, so of course I had to give it a try and it did not disappoint. They were so good. Here's how I made them. First I started by cutting up some imitation crab meat and adding it to a bowl. I then added in whipped cream cheese, sriracha, spicy mayonnaise, soy sauce, seasoned with onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and sugar. I gave that a nice mix until fully combined. To a baking dish, I laid out some parchment paper and I spread out some pre-made pizza dough. I then added my crab rangoon mixture to one side along with mozzarella cheese. I laid the other part of the pizza dough on top and made sure it was fully closed. I then used the pizza cutter to cut it into slices and I added garlic and herb butter on top along with more cheese. Let it bake in the oven on 400 for about 10 minutes and broil high for 5 minutes. Once it was done, I topped it with sweet chili sauce and green scallions. This recipe was so different and easy to make. Let me know in the comments if you'll be giving it a try.
Now this recipe is for people that love a flavorful, budget-friendly dinner but hate doing dishes after. This chicken in a bag only takes 5 minutes to whip up, but it tastes like you've been cooking all day. First, we're gonna preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and while that's doing its thing, we'll season our chicken. And this recipe works for one whole chicken, so I'm gonna season it with just salt, pepper, and paprika. That's it, and a little bit of olive oil, trust me. I like to be generous, not heavy-handed with the paprika because it doesn't have flavor unless you use too much, but it will help with the color since it is chicken in a bag. To the bottom of the bag, we'll add our aromatics, celery, onion, carrots, and smashed garlic, and then we'll add our potatoes on top along with our chicken. You see me just pouring it all in at once. It don't really matter. Now for the flavor bomb, we're gonna go on with one Grandma Eloise's Kickin' Chicken Seasoning Bomb. Listen, this is gonna replace you using 17 different seasonings in one dish without compromising the flavor. Now I'm gonna dissolve this in some Italian herb broth. You can use chicken broth or veggie broth, that's fine. And we're gonna mix it until it has this consistency that you see right here, and we're gonna pour it over the chicken so it can get a nice color in the oven. I topped it with 2 dollops of butter, tied it real tight, and popped it in, and we're gonna roast that for about 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes. Once it's done, it should look something like this, and I promise you that this is gonna be one of the easiest and most flavorful baked chicken dishes that you ever make. Thank me later.
So you just moved out your parents' house and you don't know how to cook. I got you. Seeing that tomorrow is Sunday brunch, today I'm gonna upgrade your brunch game with these perfectly fluffy butter swim biscuits and sausage gravy.
This is probably the ugliest yet most delicious dish on the planet. All right, first we're gonna start with some all-purpose flour, some baking powder, a little bit of salt, and some white sugar. We wanna make sure we mix all of our dry ingredients together before we add any of our wet ingredients. Now we got some cold, unsalted butter, and grate our butter into the dry ingredients. Now for some cold milk, I'll just mix that together without overworking your dough. All right. We got our baking dish. We're gonna go into that with some melted unsalted butter. Right into our pool of butter with our biscuits. Now we're gonna bake these at 450 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. You just wanna make sure the inside is fully baked and you have a nice golden crust on the top. For my gravy, I'm using some turkey breakfast sausage. Get some oil in our hot skillet. Breakfast sausage goes in. Now that our sausage is fully cooked, we're gonna take it off the heat and set it aside. In that same skillet, we're gonna add some butter. As soon as that melts, we're gonna go in with some all-purpose flour. Follow it with some chicken broth and some whole milk. Season that with some garlic powder, onion powder, and a good bit of black pepper. Just a pinch or two of salt, and our sausage goes right back in.
Let me show you how I made Biscoff tiramisu. These are the ingredients. Started with 2.5 cups of heavy whipping cream in a big mixing bowl. Then I took some mascarpone. I put a whole 8-ounce tub in there. Then we take our Biscoff cookie butter. I put 2 whole tablespoons in there. And I put 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 3 tablespoons of sugar. Then I start mixing. It was too liquidy, so I added some plain cream cheese, which did the trick. Got this thick whipped cream consistency, which was perfect. Pop that in the fridge while we prepare our coffee. I just took some Nescafe and mixed that in a bowl with some hot water. And we take our cookies and dunk them in the coffee for literally half a second or they'll break, and we want to line the bottom of our tray. This will be the bottom layer of our cake. Here it is. Then you put the whipped cream, just put a couple dollops and spread it out like so. Then we put a layer of cookie butter. I microwaved it and put it in a piping bag so it would come out easier. Then we start our second layer, do the same thing with the cookies and cream. Spread it out evenly and put more cookie butter on top. We start the next layer of cookies. And then for our top layer of cream, you want to make sure it's extra even for the presentation. Then I put even more cookie butter so that we can start our design. Took a toothpick and went down in a line, then went down the other way to get this cute design. Crushed some cookies in a bag to get the crumble, which I then lined the sides with, and put it in the fridge for 4 hours. And you're done!
One thing I don't like about being a private chef is that my client would hyperfixate on one thing for an entire day, and today was Asian cuisine. For breakfast, he wanted spam musubi, and I question if it's actually a breakfast food, but I'm not getting paid enough to complain. I took a can of spam and sliced it into thick pieces, and then I pan-fried it. And I made a sauce to go with it, Korean barbecue sauce, soy sauce, and some honey. Then I took the can to shape the rice, and I was able to sneak one off for myself. These were so good. I will eat these for breakfast every single day. After that, my client wanted to try the Cara River Trend so he could eat more vegetables, which I was surprised. surprised. I've never seen him even touch the vegetable. I took a lot of carrots and a potato peeler and peeled the carrots into ribbons. Put everything into a bowl, added in some soy sauce, oyster sauce, rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, chili crisp, fresh garlic and ginger, white pepper, MSG, sesame seeds, and salt. That was a lot. 2 hours later, he wanted cheesy corn ramen with pork dumplings. The big bag is crazy. I got these BB pork dumplings and I pan fried them onto the stove, and I almost burnt myself trying to make these, so my client better be happy. My client's dad also sent over some chili oil infused ramen noodles, and he wanted that added in with the bulldog corn flavored ramen. The big bag is crazy. I was able to grab me a taste of the ramen and the dumplings. I outdone myself. Alright, love you, bye.
Let me show you how to make some insane breakfast tacos.
If people knew it actually tasted amazing, well, I think they'd all make it. Wallah. This is insane, bro.
Start by peeling down your potatoes. I'm gonna thin strip them, and then I'm gonna turn them into cute cubes. Then we're gonna grab a little beef bacon. Beef from a cow. Then slice it into bits. Then drop them into a cold pan. Then turn on the heat and let them slowly render. In the meantime, I have some de-seeded dried chilies. I'm gonna let them soak up some really hot water. Then when they're alive, throw them into a blender cup. A few cloves of heartburn, a little chili water, quick pinch of salt, and we'll quickly blitz this up and set it aside. By that time, your beef bacon should be rendered. Add your potatoes, and then just let this sizzle down with some onions. And you really want to give this a couple minutes. The potatoes and onions need to cook through. Now once you start developing some crispy edges, add in your chili mix. And just know that this is going to turn every bite into a flavor bomb. Now in a separate bowl, we're going to crack in some eggs. Quickly whisk them and add them. And then we're going to do a healthy layer of cheese. I'm doing a mix of Kobe Jack and Chihuahua. And obviously we can't forget the greens to negate all those calories. Now you already know I like to scoop it up with a tortilla. And as always, now bismillah.
If people knew it actually tasted amazing, well, I think they'd all make it. Wallah. This is insane, bro.
I guess I'm getting known as dense bean salad lady, which I'm not mad about because dense bean salads are the best thing to ever happen to my meal prep. The concept is just a bunch of beans with dense salad ingredients, and the dressing just soaks in throughout the week, making it more and more flavorful. This one is a chimichurri steak salad, so it's basically the ingredients for chimichurri with steak and beans. Start by chopping 1 shallot, a bunch of cilantro, a bunch of parsley, half a container of roasted red peppers, then I rinse and drain 1 can of white beans, 1 can of chickpeas, and add in a container of mini mozzarella balls. Then I chopped up about a pound of cooked flank steak and added that, and the dressing is 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, half a cup of good olive oil, big pinch red pepper flakes, just 1 clove of garlic, and finish with a big pinch of sea salt and the juice of 1 lemon. Subscribe in my bio to see my meal plan and follow for more recipes like it.
Listen, if you ever need a reason to sit down and slow life down and enjoy your rent, this is it. Because if comfort had a taste, it would taste just like this red beans and rice recipe. It's creamy, it's flavorful, and most importantly, very nice. Go ahead and prep your smoke and do your sausage. Then in a large pot, add in some olive oil. Add in the sausage and saute until they're nice and brown before you come through with the peppers and onions. Saute those for a few minutes before you season with some black pepper and salt. Do not go heavy in the salt. Add in some garlic and come through with some butter, because everything's butter with butter, man. Now that we've built that very nice flavorful base, go ahead and add your beans and season with that very nice all-purpose seasoning. It's guaranteed to take the flavor of this red beans and rice through the roof. Yes, I do use smoked turkey wings and ham hocks. Argue with your mama, not me, baby. Throw in some bay leaves, add in some water, and once it's nice and boiling, lower the heat and then cover that thing and let it simmer. After about 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, then beans should be nice and tender. So now we're ready for the last phase, baby. Grab some of those beans, smash it, and add it to the sauce so it can thicken it up, just like this here. This food detail recipe is in my Eat Cookbook, so make sure you check it out if you want all the details. Now, whenever I'm having red beans and rice, I need some fried fish to go along with it, so that's what I did, and all you gotta do is eat, baby. Very nice.
Fuck, I need to play. Okay, first we cut a bitch. That's what happens when you fuck with me, bitch. Oil your pan, bitch. Salt, bitch.
Damn it, get the fucking ball!
Foosball. And we just mix in. Okay, bitch, take the garlic. And then you're just gonna... Oh, shoot. No! Thank you. Grab your garlic, throw that bitch in there. Pepper. Okay, say the magical words, bitch. Nice. Mix in parsley, bitch. Crushed red pepper. Facial. If you don't buy this brand, bitch, then don't fuck with me. 1 and 2, bitch. Onion powder. Garlic. bitch. More pepper, bitch. Do a mixing. That's scoopy. Okay, bitch, I have the tool. Okay, she's thick, girl. Bitch, keep it on low and just stir fry. Scrape the sides, because that's what makes it thick, bitch. So this is how you know it's thick enough, if you can ladle it like this and it doesn't go through the holes. So, it's thick. Your mushrooms. Hey guys, what is this called? Hello, bitch. Shrooms. I know. Garlic powder, onion powder, pepper. Just pat it. Fuck! Is this an all-day thing? Okay, bitch, we gotta drain her. Before I put in the beef, I'm just gonna go like this. Try to be careful. Dogs! Dogs! And we mix them. That's 3 pounds of meat, girl. That's 1, 2. That's good, bitch. Almost forgot, but I didn't forget, so here. Parmesan. Mix. Am I getting? There we are. Okay, bitch, grab a bowl. 2 of these. Oh! Oh my god, what the fuck? Dude, I just got cream in the eye. Okay, bitch, I have a tool. So. Rest of the Parmesan. Shredded mozzarella. Oh shit, I think I needed some of that. Actually, hold on. Mix, bitch. Okay, bitch, now for the noodles. I'm just gonna take a couple at a time, I guess. Oh, fuck. Forgot something. Like this, then take them into the pan. No, it doesn't really, you don't always fit. Put this in here, and then I just, okay, bitch, you take the cheese with this tool, and then we spread. Okay, girl, that's how much you need. And grab your sauce. Shit. Spread. Hey bitch, don't be scared, this is easy. Repeat the process, so noodle, nice. Cheese, nice bitch. And the sauce. Bitch, you get the idea, but it's the last layer, cheese and cheese. Top it with a little bit more mozzarella. Bitch, I thought I bought enough ingredients to meal prep for this amount of lasagnas, and this is the ingredients I have left. Okay, bitch. Throw her in the oven at 375 for like an hour. I'm gonna broil the top. Okay, bitch. That is what we are looking for. That's inches, bro. Let it sit for 15. Okay, girl. It's been about 6 minutes. So far, so good. There's only 4 slices in this. Okay, this is the part that gets a little confusing to me.
If you like chocolate chip cookies that are thin, chewy, and slightly crispy, then you should definitely try this one. Let me show you how to make it. Let's get into it. To start it off, we're going to weigh and measure our flour, then sift into a bowl, followed by a little bit of baking soda and salt. We want to whisk and mix well, then set aside. Next, in a separate bowl, we want to add in melted and cooled butter, along with light brown sugar and white sugar. We want to whisk and mix together well for a couple minutes. Next, we want to add in 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk, along with pure vanilla. Combine and whisk together well until it's light and fluffy. Now we want to fold in our flour mixture about 1/3 at a time. Fold in well until our flour is no longer visible and we have a complete dough. Then we want to fold in all of our chocolate so it's mixed well and we get chocolate all throughout. Once done, cover the bowl and I like to refrigerate for at least 2 hours. When ready to bake, scoop out our dough and place on a parchment lined baking sheet. We want to bake these in the oven for about 12 minutes. When they're ready, they should be golden brown along the edges and lightly golden in the middle. Then we want to remove from the oven and let rest for about 10 minutes before serving so they can set and then enjoy. it so good.
You're my everything, my everything. You're my everything.
Welcome back to the frat house and the return of the legendary Those Bun Things. And oh my god, just kidding, it's not that bad. Don't know where the microwave came from or the mysterious cauldron of liquid out in the dining room. But look, they plugged all my machines back in. This was beautiful for day after first night out or whatever. And here you go, English muffins, now legible. And yes, we make everything by hand over here because I have no equipment. In my past life, these were referred to as cheesy grit English muffins because there's grits in the dough and cheddar cheese, and they are absolutely freaking fantastic. And if you've never rolled dough balls, the claw hand is crucial here. It's same hand you use to grab your Taco Bell at 2 a.m. And I know I make the meat and potatoes joke a lot, but this time I used a ring cutter and I cut them into some fun shapes. Next time they're gonna be dinosaur shapes. But these were the best they've ever come out. My boss, this is a texture thing, all right? Don't come at me. He said, Grant, I don't like your potatoes, but these are incredible. Now we gotta make the crap to go on those bun things. So I did like super Cajun eggs, baked it on a sheet because I don't want to do what I did last year on the flat. But look how light and just gorgeous and beautiful. Honestly, they don't deserve these. And we threw some sausage on there to avoid the protein mutiny and a small pile of cheese. So anybody with a lactose intolerance will absolutely feel it later. And you top that puppy and chuck her in the oven. Here's my potato medallions. And of course we needed banana bread because if there's a speckle of brown on them, they're not going to touch them. So I have 400 kilos to work through. So I baked it on a sheet tray. It's a pretty good recipe. It's probably not going to blow your mind. I chucked this out there with a singular fork and let them go at it with lunch, but it was like a chicken stir fry kind of thing. And Jamal was cooking with this spicy sausage, mascarpone spaghetti. I'm telling you.
If your mom didn't teach you how to cook, that's okay. I'm your mama now, and I'm teaching you how to make honey butter biscuits the old-fashioned way. So sit down and open your ears. Let's get started. In the biggest bowl you have, you're going to add all your dry ingredients and give that a good mix. Then you're going to grate your butter. Yes, I said grate your butter. This is how we're going to get nice, even, buttery flakes throughout the biscuits. Add in some honey and a little bit of your buttermilk. We're just going to add it by eye just so that we can make sure our dough is not too mushy. Everything changes based on where you live and your altitude. Once your dough is nice and shaggy, pour it onto a surface and then knead it until it all comes together. I like to roll my dough out until it's nice and thin like a pie crust and then fold it like an envelope, similar to how you do croissants. This ensures that the butter has nice layers to steam through, making nice and flaky biscuit. Now that everything is layered up, we're going to roll it out into a nice thick square, about 2 inches thick, before you dip your cutter into flour before cutting out each biscuit. I usually get about 12 biscuits from this recipe. A lot of people tell me they're afraid to handle their dough a lot. I am not. I'm going to knead that dough and get as many biscuits as I can out of my recipe because I know that after this it's going to go in the freezer for at least 20 minutes to rest before we put in a cast iron skillet and bake it, so everything has some time to cool down again. Bake at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and while that bakes, make your honey butter. I just take 2 tablespoons of the leftover butter with some honey and baste it. Put it back in the oven for 5 minutes and baste again.
Welcome back to my new series where every Sunday you're invited to Sunday Baking Club. Okay, I have a secret. I am a certified chocolate hater, but if you put a chocolate chip cookie in front of me, I love chocolate. I love to tour. This was one of the first recipes that I developed when I was a teenager, and I've stuck to it ever since. And I like to use room temp salted butter because I felt like I could never get the salt ratio right, and it gets it perfect every single time. I also usually use semi-sweet chocolate chips, but this time I'm using some chocolate bars that I cut up into chunks because it creates this beautifully chaotic distribution. Now, we're a little impatient around these parts, so I don't chill in the fridge. I chill for half the time in the freezer, and I feel like it gives you the perfect boneless cookie. I froze the remainder of the batch to have some grab-and-go cookies for later and plated them up. These were so good, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside, everything you want. See you next Sunday. god. Welcome back, my internet primas. Casi se me olvida mi mason jar. Amigas, how are we doing today? I was running low on Jamaica, so like a normal, mentally stable, functioning woman, I went to the store y me compré más. Typically for one serving, I do like a quarter cup of dry Jamaica leaves. Primas, I woke up today ready to take on the day. I've been up since 6 a.m. and I feel amazing. Este es un 2-cup mason jar, entonces lo vamos a llenar hasta arriba con agua y lo vamos a dejar quieto, ¿ok? Ya ustedes saben. Ya saben, I'm telling you, she needs her space. I'm off today, and honestly, I woke up this morning and I was like, déjeme ponerme las pilas real quick. If you know me, usted sabe que a mí me gusta hacer las compras súper temprano, so I got to the store so early. I did all my shopping. I feel so productive. I'm getting ready to clean the house now, so you already know. Vamos a hacer un little drink antes de comenzar. Un pinch de sea salt. Mamitas, what makes this recipe so special is that we're going to be using some extra virgin olive oil to make this a creamy Jamaica lemonade. We're going to measure out 1 tablespoon of extra virgin aceite de oliva. Échelo en su blender. Girl, choose your sweetener: maple syrup, agave, honey, regular sugar, lo que sea sirve, whatever your heart desires. You can do 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of this, depending on how sweet you like your drinks, okay? No judgment. I'm telling you, I'm not judging you. I'm doing 2 tablespoons, and I hope you don't judge me either. I really feel like I've just been in my senora era. Like, nothing makes me happier on my day off than cleaning my house, listening to my bachata playlist, and having my little drinkity drink. Take your strainer, aka su colador, y vamos a echar el agua de Jamaica que ya está lista. The olive oil really gives it that creaminess. I'm gonna go blend it so you prima see exactly what I'm talking about. What did I tell you? Look at this. She's literally so creamy. Antes de echarlo aquí, nunca nos puede faltar el fresh garnish. Honestly, you can use any citrus for this. I feel like oranges in here would be really good too. So you're gonna strain this, primas, because you did use a whole lemon, so you don't want to get like la cáscara in there. Honestly, I don't mind the taste of the cáscara. Like, la cáscara le da como un sabor como un poquito amargo, but if you have enough sweetness, it just really gives you like, oh my god, it's just really good.
I'm a former Taco Bell employee, and I'm showing you how to reverse engineer your favorite Taco Bell menu items at home. Today we're making the beefy 5-layer burrito. This one's a classic, but when it was first introduced, it was 89 cents. Now it is $3.99. That is a 400% price increase for a burrito that is incredibly simple to make at home. I already showed you how to make the taco meat and beans in last week's enchilada video, but let's talk nacho cheese. I haven't quite found an exact dupe, but the closest I've come is the Fritos jalapeno cheddar dip. And pro tip, Dollar Tree's version is super close and it is a lot cheaper. Here's how to make the burrito. Start with a warmed burrito-sized tortilla and add a couple of spoonfuls of warm nacho cheese. Then place a taco-sized tortilla on top and give that a little twist to spread that cheese out. Now add a spoonful of refried beans, a spoonful of taco meat, a little sour cream, and some shredded cheddar cheese. Wrap it up tight, and boom, you've got a beefy 5-layer burrito at home. Now, I'm not claiming that it's cheaper to make one burrito because, yeah, the ingredients will run you more than $3.99. But if this is your go-to favorite, making it at home could save you a lot in the long run.
Am I doing this right? My arm is burning. Ooh. I'm gonna be extra and add some vanilla bean chunks. That was a little too much. That is tender. I'm gonna
sprinkle the cookies on top.
Welcome back to Cheesecake Mondays, where I make fire-ass high-protein cheesecake variations recommended by you. And today, to save your back from getting big, I'm making a Cinnamon Toast Crunch cheesecake with 51 grams of protein, 473 calories. For my base, I'm using the Oikos Pro Vanilla Yogurt. Use whatever the fuck you want to, but this is what I'm using because it's my shit, and we're going to use 13 ounces. Now, of course, we are using a zero sugar Jell-O cheesecake pie mix, but if you don't like this kind, guess what? Fuck you. I'm just kidding. Just use the regular kind, but it's going to cost you some extra calories, of course. Do the macros for that. We're going to add 14 grams for about 50 calories. And whoever said I got a drug dealer scale, mind your business. Now, I found the Cinnamon Toast Crunch seasoning at Walmart, and I'm going to add a teaspoon for 15 calories. Now, if you want to add more, do that because it's what? Your shit. Okay. We're going to give it a good mix for about 2 minutes until everything is well combined with no clumps. And then smooth it out and let it sit in the fridge for at least 20 minutes. Now, instead of buying an entire box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because you know I'm going to inhale the entire box in one day, I bought the little dollar bowl from Walmart as well. And we're going to add about a half an ounce to the top. And just like that, you get another fire-ass way to hit your protein goals. Drop your cheesecake recommendations in the comments, and if you would like to see more, remember to like and share. Love you. Bye.
We got Papados at home. Every time I go there, I always order their blackened catfish with dirty rice served with their creamy sauce, and it never disappoints. So I had to make it at home, and it was so delicious. Here's how I made it. For my dirty rice, I heated up some olive oil and I sauteed my veggies along with garlic paste. I then added in some ground beef and andouille sausage. I drained the grease from the meat and seasoned with salt, pepper, paprika, cayenne pepper, and Cajun seasoning. I gave that a nice mix and then I added a little flour to thicken it up. I then added a little beef broth along with my cooked rice. I gave it a nice mix until well combined and I set it aside. Next, I seasoned my catfish fillets with Cajun and blackened seasoning. To a skillet, I heated some olive oil and I let them cook on both sides for about 3 to 4 minutes, adding lemon juice in between. For my sauce, I melted some butter, added a little olive oil, garlic paste, and veggies. I then seasoned with Cajun seasoning, paprika, salt, and pepper. I let that cook down a bit before adding in a little beef broth along with heavy cream. Let it simmer over low heat for about 5 minutes and added some lobster tails in along with Parmesan cheese. Once my sauce thickened, I turned off the heat and set it aside, and this is how it came out. This meal is one of my favorites to get at Papados, and it's perfect for date night. Let me know in the comments if you'll be giving it a try.
I own a bakery that cranks out 12,000 treats a day, but sometimes I just want one cookie. So I made this gorgeous jumbo thin and crispy chocolate chip cookie, chewy in the center, buttery on the edges, and totally egg-free. Because you know what? Just in case those egg prices go up to $1 bazillion again, be sure to follow for more single-serve sweets to come.
Surprisingly, one of my friends officially became a police officer as a 5'2" short king. So let's celebrate him spending his career arresting minions with this
short ribs lasagna. Shout out to my short kings.
So to make sure he doesn't arrest me, let's keep this short by salting short ribs and sear them in a lubed pot until they're brown and crispy. Throw chopped onions, celery, and carrots in the same pot, and once they're cooked, add garlic and tomato paste before deglazing with enough wine to make him forget his shortcomings. Now pour tomato sauce and drop in some beef stock before adding the meat back in the pot to cook. Now to qualify for Italian citizenship, make a flour well and combine with eggs to then knead into a dough ball before realizing that you're weaker than the average nonna.
This is a workout.
Slice it into 4 parts before passing them through a pasta machine until you get a long lasagna sheet that would make Nonna proud.
Boom!
After 3 hours, the meat should be tender, ready to be shredded apart and mixed into the sauce. Now spread 1 layer of lasagna sheet in a baking pan, followed by shredded ribs and mozzarella. Do the same thing but faster until we get to the top, which we'll then cover with parmesan. Now the lasagna is ready to be baked and given to my friend so that he doesn't put me in jail for bullying him.
Let me show you how I made this roast, and when I say this is the perfect Sunday dinner, this is the perfect comfort meal. I was never a fan of roast growing up, so this is my first time making it, but when I tell you it was so good. First, you want to start by seasoning your roast, coat that real well on all sides, then in a hot Dutch oven, you're going to add that in to get a nice sear. Sear this on all sides. This is going to add so much more flavor. Then remove that, add in your onions, your carrots, and your garlic, fresh garlic if you're using it. Deglaze the pan with red wine, add in some beef broth, ranch seasoning, some jus gravy, onion powder, smoked paprika, a little red pepper flake, about 6 to 8 pepperoncinis along with some of that juice. Add your roast back in and put that in the oven on 350. This is going to need about 3 to 4 hours, but by that time, that meat should just shred and fall apart so easily and be so tender. Before your roast is completely done, make sure to reserve some of that gravy. That way you can have some to pour on top. I paired this with mashed potatoes and it was so good. You guys have to try this one.
Hey y'all, what y'all make for dinner? I call myself letting them kids make their own pizza for dinner. I thought it was gonna be like, give me a little break, child. I still end up doing half of the work. But I was just showing y'all, I made them some Italian sausage. I just took the casing off, sauteed it up. I just added some garlic powder and some Italian seasoning. Because you don't really gotta do too much to Italian sausage. This was our little setup. I put a little tablecloth in there that I had for my daughter's birthday party. I just added the sauce for them, and then I let them go to town with the toppings. Y'all, this is only half the kids. When I tell y'all it's literally 10 kids, like, that's no exaggeration. This is literally only half of them. But this holiday pizza came out looking good. This is my husband's plate. This was the kids. I don't know why they was a little stingy with the cheese. They didn't have to be. But this holiday food came out. My one daughter, she only like cheese pizza. I ended up messing up my whole little watermelon diet, child. I done ate this pizza. Y'all pray for me.
Today, baby, mac and cheese lasagna. Now, who would have funkin' mac and cheese lasagna? Ooh. Big Mama has been craving this for weeks. Let's get started. Let's get our protein all nice and melanated. 1 pound of ground turkey. Gonna season with some all-purpose seasoning, Italian seasoning, onion powder, and of course it's cousin garlic powder. Gonna cook down some celery, onion, and carrots. It's my understanding it's called a mirepoix. 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. Add in your favorite jar of spaghetti sauce, a little bit of that melanin sugar, pinch of salt, Italian seasoning, some of that fresh basil. Gonna allow this to simmer for approximately 15 minutes. Using the same pot as I boiled my noodles in to make our mac and cheese. Add about 12 ounces of heavy cream. Simple, and season it with some onion powder, chicken bouillon, and of course that black pepper. Turn off our heat. Just keeping it simple with some cheddar and some, of course, some Velveeta. You can use whatever cheese you want. Add a little of this too. Now bake at 400 degrees until your cheese gets all hot, bubbly, and brown. Yeah. So curious how this is gonna taste. First bite for you. Honey, the only thing I can tell you is that it reminds me of the $1 Million Spaghetti with the Alfredo sauce in the spaghetti, and then you layer the meat sauce. Ooh.
I don't know about y'all, but I used to love that breakfast pizza in the morning. So let's bring it back to life. You're gonna get you some Jimmy Dean sausage, cook that meat down, season with black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. Once complete, set to the side. In a hot pan, you're gonna add some oil and some flour. You don't wanna cook that gravy too long because you want white gravy. Add you some milk, stir around, and yes, go heavy on the black pepper. Add you some salt and some garlic powder. Let that simmer for about 4 minutes and you should have some thick gravy. Grab you some pizza crust, non-stick spray. After the 10 minutes, pull your pizza crust out, add your gravy, spread around, add you some mozzarella cheese and that meat on top. Let that cook for about 3 to 4 more minutes. I promise making this brings back so many memories in that breakfast line. Now you know I had to taste it. Ooh, brings back so much memories. Clock it, clock it. And you know I couldn't forget that apple juice now. But no, for real, y'all remember y'all lunch number? Yes, there's food at home.